Celtics fans, it is time to put the nail in the Miami Heat's coffin. Bury them tonight. And if you want to help, like this video if you want the Celtics to clinch tonight and advance to the NBA Finals to face the Golden State Warriors. Hit that thumbs up icon if you want that to happen. And later on in the show, we'll get to some keys to victory on Game 6, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we got some offseason rumors to get to, so coming up right now. You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Coming up here in a little bit, we got some top free agents to target thanks to our friends over at Bleacher Report, so stay tuned for that. But also, from Bleacher Report, they've got a trade target for every team in the NBA right now, and Malcolm Brogdon was listed as that player for the Boston Celtics, as he has, of course, spent the last few years with the Indiana Pacers. He's a combo guard, can play point, can play the two. He can guard multiple positions as well. Had a 50-40-90 season a few years ago, 50% from the field, 40% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. For those who don't know, when he's been able to stay healthy, he's been a pretty darn good player. Had some injury issues in the past, but I've always been a fan of his game. Here's what Bleacher Report had to say on possible fit of Brogdon in Boston. If the Celtics could stomach Brogdon's health risks, they could get major mileage out of him. He could further elevate this club's playmaking and is just as potent off the ball, meaning he wouldn't step on the toes of the Jays or Marcus Smart. Brogdon's defense could make him a favorite of Coach Ime Udoka, and Brogdon's experience could allow for a smooth transition into the locker room. This could make some sense. Now, I think the tricky thing about this is, A, what does the trade look like? And B, if you're keeping Tatum and Brown, which obviously you're not trading one of them for Brogdon, but you're also keeping a guy like Marcus Smart, do those four guys all start together, or does Brogdon become like a super sixth man? Because that would really intrigue me, especially when you consider his playmaking and shooting ability. If he's coming off the bench and he's, maybe splitting with someone else as the primary ball handling, can play the water of the two, I'm intrigued by that. 45% from three. He is an absolute sniper from out there. He can start. He can come off the bench. He can score. He can defend. He can play on ball. He can play off ball. He's a very versatile guard with some good size at about 6'5". Now, I wonder what a trade would cost, what it would look like. I mean, you just traded for Derek White. Maybe he would be a part of a trade to Indiana, a still young player that Rick Carlisle could try to develop over there. Maybe that's something a trade could look like. Do you want to trade a Grant Williams after the playoff run he's had? I don't know. He's contributed to the depth of the front court. I think you would have to consider what you would send. I have a first-round pick this year because of the Derek White trade, so I like the fit. I like the idea of it. I like the potential of it. I just wonder what a trade actually looks like. I would think Derek White would have to be a part of it. Maybe Peyton Pritchard too. White, Pritchard, and a future pick. Maybe that would get it done. I don't know, though. I think those are all things you would have to work through. Would you trade for Malcolm Brogdon? Celtics fans, tell me. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. If you're in Brad Stevens' shoes, what would you do? Would you trade for him or not? Y for yes or N for no. Bleacher Report also put out some top free agents that Boston can target this offseason. 3 to be exact, so we'll break them down one by one here on Celtics Today. Number 1, Ricky Rubio, which Ricky Rubio is an interesting player because for a long time he's been a quality point guard. He used to not be able to shoot at all, but then over his career he got better. This feels like a stretch because he didn't play at all this year due to injury. He's older. There's been some chatter he may just retire or go back to Spain and finish his career internationally as he enters his, early mid-30s now. But if he's your backup point guard, that's pretty intriguing. He could be the point. A guy like Derek White could be your backup two guard. That could work. I mean, I'm not saying Ricky Rubio can't play, but I would have to see what the contract looked like and what the expectations would be because I don't think you're getting Ricky Rubio of 2 or 3 years ago that can run a starting offense. But if that's not what you're looking for, if you're looking for a backup, okay. I mean, for cheap, I'm in. $3-4 million for Ricky Rubio. Let's ride. I think that would be okay. Before we get to our next couple of targets from Bleacher Report, Celtics fans, come on. We're trying to get to 10,000 subs. We've had a few more recently. We're closing in on 9,000, but We're continuing to keep you guys updated through the playoffs. Plus, looking ahead to the offseason, we'll slowly start to increase our videos here at Celtics Today as the offseason gets closer. Subscribe, hit that big red button. We'll have you covered with the latest Celtics news and rumors all offseason long. Now, this is an interesting name. T.J. Warren, who, remember Bubble Warren when he was dropping 50 points in the NBA bubble just a couple of years ago? The problem is he just hasn't stayed healthy since then. He's been injured a lot, which is obviously a risk, more risky than Malcolm Brogdon, I would say. He's had even more injury issues at least the last couple of years. Maybe not throughout his career that Brogdon's had, but still, he can flat out score though, man. It's like a super sixth man that just gets buckets. Again, intrigued by the idea. What does the money look like as a free agent? 8 million, 10 million? Is it going to be, 15? Is some team going to overpay for Warren thinking he can be that 25-point scorer for him? Maybe. It's possible. So monitor that. Keep that in mind. But if his, value gets shot a little bit, maybe it's a Victor Oladipo effect where teams are just worried about the injuries. Maybe you could get him for like a mid-level exception. That's something that would intrigue me. Now, name a player that you think the Celtics should go out and sign this offseason. Cast your votes down in the comments section. I want to know what you guys think. All right, how about Otto Porter Jr., who's actually played a pretty nice role for the Warriors. He missed the last couple of games of the Western Conference Finals because he's been banged up, but I think he would be a vet minimum guy. I think he's given the Warriors quality minutes off the bench. Steve Kerr is, raved about him a couple of times, saying how big he's been for them. This feels more logical. Veteran presence. Obviously, he's going to have championship experience, whether they win it or not. They're in the finals. He's played for a long time, and he knows his role. He's going to give you 15, 20 minutes off the bench. He'll score 7 to 10 points, and he'll shoot the ball well from the outside. He knows how to play the game. His days of making big money are over. Shout out to him for getting the bag in 2016 when everybody else got the bag. Timothy Mozgov. But I like Otto Porter. I think he's a quality vet. He can play defense as well. I think for a vet min type of deal, that would be pretty interesting. Now, obviously, a lot of you guys are probably asking, do the Celtics need anyone? They're about to be in the NBA Finals. Well, got to win one more game, like the video, by the way. But I think it's a fair question to ask. If you go win a championship, do you need to add a lot more? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You can always get better, but I think if, the Celtics are going to be in a spot where adding a major piece probably doesn't make sense, but, add a bench guy here or there and go from there. See what happens. Obviously, deep team, good coaching staff. You got Jason Tatum. You got Jaylen Brown. You're in a good spot. I mean, you are entering, this kind of championship window for several years. I mean, I mentioned Grant Williams' emergence has been big. Robert Williams has had a really nice year. These are young pieces that Boston has, and you guys should be excited because this team is going to compete at a high level, I believe, for the next 5, maybe even 10 years. How confident are you in the Celtics' current roster? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being you're not. You think it's a fluke they've gotten this far. 10 being you're very confident. I'm at like a 9, good spot. I think you could add a depth piece here or there, but I think Boston's in a really good spot moving forward. Obviously, they're trying to win it all this year, but even if they don't, they're going to be in a good shape next season. All right, let's get to some Game 6 keys to victory for the Boston Celtics, looking to close things out here at home tonight, so hopefully they're able to do it. Here we go. 3 quick keys. Number 1, start fast, don't look back. I think when a team is on the ropes and they're coming into your house and, Miami is, probably mentally drained a little bit. They were up 2-1. They got housed the last 2 games. They need a good start. If you're Boston, start fast, try to bury them early. Be up 10, 12 points at the end of the first quarter, and, that doubt starts to creep in to Jimmy Butler and the rest of the Miami Heat. I think that's very important to get out to a good start. Number 2, keep up the defensive intensity. It's been impressive what this team has done on the defensive side. Just when you think they're a good defensive team, they just find another level. I mean, it's really impressive what they've been able to do these last 3 games, especially against Jimmy Butler. And then number 3, and, this is always a stat that coaches monitor, but win the 3-point battle. I think, you beat them by 9 points in that category last time. If you can make a couple more than they do, it's going to be tough because the Heat don't have a lot of guys who can manufacture their own points on the offensive end. They got to hit some shots, and if they're not, then you're going to be in good shape if you are Boston. So 3 keys: start fast, don't look back, keep up the defensive intensity and pressure, and then make a few more shots than they do, and you're going to be in good shape to advance to another NBA Finals. All right, who you got today? Are the Celtics going to close it out? If you think they will, will, type C. If you don't, if you think the Heat will force a Game 7, type H down below. I better not see any H's down in the comments. Get your votes in. Hit that sub button. Hopefully next time we talk to you, it's celebrating the Celtics going to the NBA Finals.